see you guys in the dark.
About 6 years ago, when my cousin, we'll call him James, was 15, and I was 7, our parents left us to go to a wedding. They trusted him enough to babysit me for a while, so that they could get to the wedding in time. It was more of the parents' friends, so we didn't really have to come, and it seemed cheaper to just leave us at home. It was sometime in fall, maybe the first week or so of November. He and I were playing games when there was a scratching at the door. It was loud and animal-like. Something or someone wanted to get in. James had gotten up, walked over to the door to look at who it was, only to have the door kicked. It was like something wanted to break down the door. James had started to get nervous, and he looked at me. He was scared, and today I still don't know why. He was completely silent, and he quickly ushered me upstairs. It was only around 7, but it was dark, and he insisted that it was my bedtime. He tucked me into bed and went back downstairs. This was my aunt and uncle's house, and they were hunters. They had a small amount of guns, and I could tell that when James went downstairs again, he went to go grab one of the guns. I started to hear loud shuffling outside in the leaves, and I called for him to come upstairs. He was up next to my bed in less than a second with a gun in his hand. I told him about what I was hearing outside and how I was scared. He looked outside and said that there wasn't anything there. By then the scratching and kicking at the door had stopped, but I was still scared, as if someone was trying to get in and hurt us. James stayed in my room and insisted that we would be okay. I fell asleep, and from what I know, so did he. At around midnight, the shuffling began again. It was in the house this time. I immediately started to cry, and that woke up James really fast. He got up and walked out of the room, stood at the top of the stairs. Seconds later, I heard him shoot something, and a scream. He ran right back into the room, blocked the door with everything that he could find. I was still bawling my eyes out, and barely registering what was going on. James sat on the bed next to me and tried to comfort me, but I was having none of it. I kept wailing at the top of my lungs. A minute or so later, there was scratching at the bedroom door. James grabbed his phone and called the police, with me now trying to push him, so he's in front of me. I wanted to be far away from whatever that was. The scratching continued, and it seems like hours until the police had arrived. The sirens were the thing to scare whatever that thing was away. I really don't remember much of what happened, and James only ever tells it when I'm not around. This is all I've ever really gotten from him. I live in a small suburb neighborhood in Washington State. All my life I have lived there, and my neighbors were good people, except for one. When I was 6 years old, my mother had started her own art entertainment business, and my dad was a salesman, so my parents at one point decided to get a babysitter for me, since they were gone all the time during the summer. My mother asked my neighbor Heather if her teenage daughter Sierra would babysit me, and she would get paid for it. From what I recall, Sierra was a very down-to-earth person, like she was so serious all the time. My mother let her be my babysitter for 3 months. She would only come over for 30 minutes a day. And when she was there, I tried to talk her into playing a board game or something since I was so bored being left alone at the house. She never responded to any that I had said, which I just thought was strange since all the other people that I had met acted as if they were happy to see me. But she seemed as if she was so depressed that she chose to ignore me. She would come to my house and just make me one bowl of mac and cheese, or one sandwich a day, and then nothing else. She wouldn't even get me a bottle of water. Over a week of babysitting, she would come over less and less, which meant I was feeling very lonely and was often by myself for hours on end. It was almost like she neglected me for some reason, like I was a prisoner of war or something. By the end of summer, Sierra had turned 16 and already was pregnant. She decided to leave her mother, Heather, and go out and live with her boyfriend, who had recently moved to Phoenix, Arizona. She left, and Heather was devastated because Sierra never told her that she was moving to Phoenix. Heather became very ill after this, and eventually died in her own home due to heart failure, only a year after Sierra had left. I never heard anything else about her, and to be honest, I was glad that she was gone, because I never really liked her at all, since she chose to neglect me when she was babysitting me. 4 years later, I'm watching the news with my dad, and a story comes up on the news about some single mother who had left her child to die in a trailer park in Mesa, Arizona. Apparently, this woman had left her 2 children in her trailer in the woods to starve to death with no water or food whatsoever to live with her new boyfriend. One of those children died as the other one barely survived. A person who was driving through the desert had noticed the trailer on one side of the road. This person had pulled over, heard screaming from that trailer, and found a horror show. She had abused, neglected, and tortured her own child over the span of 2 years. The trailer had no air conditioning, and one child had passed away. They showed a picture of a woman. It was Sierra. Sierra didn't want children, so instead of giving them up to foster care or CPS, she decided to kill them and collect the life insurance policies that she had on them. She had committed the worst act that a mother could do to her children. It still shocks me to this day that a person could have that ill will to do something to a child, especially one of her own. I do not know what she was convicted of, but I do know that she was sent to prison. I still feel sorry for those children who had to endure the neglect from their mother. I'm a 16-year-old female, and in my hometown there's a lot of old houses from the 1980s. Mainly there are new houses. I just happened to get a babysitter gig with another girl because their kids were hard to take care of. Now, I wasn't very familiar with babysitting, seeing as I only taken care of my cousin from time to time. Anyways, I went to the house after picking up the girl who was helping me with the kids. Let me just say that this house looked like a murder house from the 1800s, but I shook off the feeling and went in, met the parents. Also, the girl and I were working from 4 to 11 p.m. Halloween happened to be the next week, so this just makes it even more crazy. The kids and I got along great, and I could keep their names straight, unlike the other girl. She did nothing but play on her phone. She didn't help with any of the kids. Things were fine until around 9:30 p.m. I had to put down one of the kids, and the girl put down the other one. We had one left, and he was old enough to go to bed on his own. Once all of them went to bed, some shit had happened, and we still can't explain how these things happened. The first thing that happened was, it was the intercom that was in the parents' office and basement. Static and weird moans came from it, and the basement had footsteps running around and moving plastic bags. I heard a grown man's laugh where the kids were at. I bolted up the stairs as fast as I could, as a motherly instinct to protect them. When I got up, they were all fine, and they just had a guard dog to protect them upstairs. But you never know what can happen. Things just got even weirder. Those things kept happening, and the girl that I was with hid in the bathroom and was no help at all. So I got another guard dog since I wasn't downstairs a lot due to the runs to make sure that the kids were safe. Big mistake. That dog was pure evil. It bit me and the girl. The kids as well, which is why it was left outside. But I had to do something to protect the girl, even if I disliked her. I still didn't want anything to happen to her. The parents came home at 11 p.m., and we told them everything. And well, the dad went to the basement and saw the intercom was turned on, and the girl's foot bag, which I saw her throw it away, was down there, which was freaking creepy. I wasn't scared because somehow I was always fearless, but I'm still trying to figure out why the hell those things had happened. I'm looking into seeing if there was anyone that was murdered at that house. We have a lot of haunted places where I live, and I decided to post my story of paranormal activity, which I don't believe, but it was just too weird to just be human. I'm a 17-year-old girl, and I work overnight with 3 girls, ages 11, 8, and 3, but the 3-year-old has autism. Well, it all started when I sent them to bed. Nothing abnormal from that. Well, it was 11 p.m., and the 8-year-old's light was still on. There was bedtime at 9, so she does not have a door that leads into her room. Well, I quietly snuck out of the room that I was staying in to go see what she was doing. She, of course, was on her phone. I asked what she was doing. She jumped because I snuck up on her. Well, she said she was just turning it off. I thought that was odd because she said weird, so I asked for the phone. As I was putting it up, lots of notifications were popping up. They were text messages, so me being the nosy teenager that I am, looked to see what the text messages were. To my surprise, it was sex talk from multiple ladies in their 20s or 30s. I did not know how to react, so I opened up the phone to see what was going on. That was a big mistake. As soon as I opened it, a video of a lady shitting in a man's mouth appeared full volume. Keep in mind that she's only 8 years old. I immediately texted the mom and apologized for going on the phone. I also told her what I had found. I continued my investigation, and there were so many messages from ladies asking if they want to see their pussies or watch them play with themselves. The search history was a bunch of pooping in mouths, peeing in mouths, and sex. I was shocked because she is only 8 years old. I don't know where to go from looking at that phone. I'm wondering if I should quit my job. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.